That's right.
I played a mental patient on One Life to Live.
That's on your reel?
It's on my, yes, it is.
Demo reel. I saw that. I'm like, ooh.
It's on my reel.
That was the first paid gig.
Yeah,
Was it the first paid gig? Yeah, on TV.
Acting. Yeah, first paid acting gig.
Nice. And did you delve into theater too? I think I saw you had One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest credit there.
Yeah, that was Long Island Theater. That's really the only play I've ever done. I would love to do another play if just the right part comes out. I played the chief. And I think when I got the part, the guy who owns the theater said to me, "As long as a 6'6" Native American doesn't come through the door, you have the part." I was fortunate that didn't happen, and I really enjoyed the experience.
Mm-hmm. Where do you get your material for your stand-up?
Where do I get my material? A lot of comes from everyday life and family, or it could be just something that I observe or something that bothers me. Like recently I started working on a new chunk, as they call it in the business, about ancestry DNA. And I just thought, here's this great thing, but, like any good thing, there's got to be some things that aren't so great about it. Like, for instance, now they have your DNA, so you could, if you wanted for a crime, which I'm not, thank God, but they could pull your DNA now. If you have a brother or a sister that did ancestry DNA and the cops are looking at you for something, they could go to ancestry DNA and get your brother's DNA and get you that way.
Wow, never thought of that.
Yeah, and people are finding like siblings and finding out the father had other families and stuff like that. It's a lot of weird stuff happening.
Good material.
Yeah, it's fodder for a lot.
Do you have a notebook or something that you write your sketches on, your bits?
Well, I like to try to journal, or I have a notepad on my iPhone where I'll put something in and try to sit down and try to flesh it out a little bit, see if it has any legs to it, do a little free association and see what comes up,
Do you test it on family members and friends before you...
I think I used to do that when I first started. They quickly get annoyed with that. It gets old very quick. So I'll test it at an open mic, maybe between two jokes that I know that are already working, so.
How would you describe your brand of stand-up?
Brand, I would say self-deprecating. My manager, they want to brand me as Mr. Long Island.
Oh, Long Island.
Mr. Long Island, yeah.
Gotta have that effect, huh?
Yeah. And that's how we came up with the podcast too.
How long has that been around? When did it start?
We started Long Island Explained probably back in October of 2018.
What was the genesis for that?
So it's fairly new. We had a meeting between with my manager and a casting director friend, and we're trying to pitch a project, so we're trying to get me more exposure. And one of the ideas we came up with was this Long Island angle, to push the Long Island angle. And we came up with the idea for the podcast, a sort of branding me, I guess, again, as the Long Island guy from Long Island.
But you don't do the show alone. You are with?
Oh, my buddy Steve Belanger, who's he's done a bunch of other things. He used to do a podcast for Men's Health. Mm-hmm. And I have another podcast called Comedians on Hockey, where me and two other comedians that are hockey fans, we just talk about hockey every week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of fun. That's fun. We always pick on each other. A couple of Ranger fans of how the fan going at it, you know.
Should make for some interesting stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, the Long Island Explained is really good.
Nice.
I just checked your bio and I said, "What is this podcast in Long Island?" I love the one where you're talking about the three foods that are Long Island's known for: the pizza, the bagel, and the breakfast sandwich.
The egg sandwich, yeah.
Yes, and you're saying that Long Island State should have that as their flag.
It should be on the flag, yeah. It should be on the flag because they, we ask people online that if Long Island became its own state, what would its flag be? And people had all different kinds of answers, but I think the one that people seemed to like the best was the bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll.
What is the stand-up touring schedule like?
Well, it's I'm trying to think how to put it. I love it. I mean, I love being on the road, but it's also, you get homesick pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like for instance, this Friday, I have shows Friday and Saturday in Jersey, Friday in New Jersey, Saturday in Maryland, and then from Maryland I'm going to the Borgata from Sunday through Friday, performing there, and another show on Saturday in Jersey, and then home. So I'll be on the road for like 9 days.
Wow. And
then I'll come home, and there's a lot of weekender gigs in the between Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. You could find yourself a lot of like one-nighters, which those help. When I first got on the show with Kevin, I had this one agent, and they wanted to send me out like every week across the country. I was like, not so much. Maybe like I told the guy, I said, send me out like maybe once or twice a month, but space it out. So I said, I'm not a 20-year-old kid looking to live on the road. Plus, I'm married.
Got to get in the quality time. I know.
Yeah, that too. I want to be home for auditions when they do come out.
Mm-hmm.
I know guys that have worked the road a lot where they've missed auditions because they're in Omaha or something.
So he may not be coming to the Tampa area anytime soon for a stand-up.
Well, there is a club there I performed about 2 years ago. I'm trying to get back into. It's called Side Splitters.
Been there.
It's in Tampa. Yeah, I like
place.
it. This guy, there may be a new owner soon, so we'll see.
Well, you've been to Governor's, of course. That's like a definite on Long Island. You have to go there.
Governor's in Levittown, which is my home club. I'm actually recording a Sirius XM special on June 22nd at that club. And, they the owners of Governor's bought up the other two clubs that were on Long Island. And that's where they have one here in Bohemia, which is by me. And that's the club I was at on a Wednesday night when Kevin James walked in and saw me. And ultimately put me on his show from that one Wednesday night.
All right, let's get into that now. So Kevin James spots you in a club doing your thing. And how does that, he contacts your manager, or how does that come about?
He saw me in the club, and he liked my 10-minute set. And then, like a month or two later, I saw on actorsaccess.com, the website where you get all these auditions come out. I saw an audition. They were looking for these characters for Kevin's show. And so I had to call my manager right away. I said, submit me for this right away. And about a week later, they called me in for an audition. And a week after that, Kevin and Rock Rubin, they both they called me and asked me to be on the show. And I was floored. I was absolutely floored. Wow. Yeah, it was incredible.
And your character is called?
My character's name was Mott. It ran for 2 years on CBS. His name was Mott. And I was the dim-witted friend, I guess you would say, the dim-witted friend. And it was really just, it was an incredible experience. Working with Kevin, and then ultimately Leah came on, and it was just a lot of fun.
What was it like that first time on the set?
I was, you know what? I was, again, the acting and the stand-up comedy, everything prepared me for that moment where we're performing in front of a live audience, and I had an advantage over other actors who never did comedy in front of a live audience, because there's a rhythm to it. Like when you laugh, when you say something that makes the audience laugh, you have to wait for that laughter to die down before you deliver your next line. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, over time just happens like naturally. You don't want to step on your laughs, as they say in the business.
It applies for stand-up also. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And where was the show filmed?
Right in Bethpage, Long Island.
Specially made for that show? Was there a special studio made for that?
Gold Coast Studios, yeah. Gold Coast Studios. It was incredible. Really was incredible.
So I guess the show's not coming back.
No, it's been off for about a year now. And it was painful. It was right around almost exactly a year when they canned it.
Mm.
That hurt. That hurt. I think a lot of people weren't expecting it. It was a little bit of a shock to a lot of people. I mean, there's always the opportunity. I mean, there's always the chance that could happen, but it just seemed like a very slim chance.
But the caveat came out of that. You went on tour with Kevin?
Yeah, after that I went on tour with him and started opening up for him here and there. And we just got back from, we just did Pittsburgh. We did your home state of Michigan.
Oh.
We did Kansas City. And after the Kansas City gig, I flew home and he went out and did the West Coast.
Other acting he's done. I happened to see a clip of you with the one and only Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
What was that like? What was the film?
Mr. Al was an independent film called The Humbling. Mm-hmm. And it went right to video, which is very humbling.
Well.
And I just did one scene with him. It was 3 or 4 lines, and then when it finally came out on screen, it was they cut my 3 or 4 lines down to 1, but I didn't care. The moments, the memories I had with Al Pacino, just working off him, and we improvised a little bit. We went off script, and he was so cool. It was just a really incredible experience.
How did you get that gig?
That one I auditioned for, and originally I had gotten another part in that movie, and so I first get the part. I'm telling all my friends I'm going to be working on Al Pacino, and then like 2 weeks later they canceled the part. They canceled that scene from the movie, and the rendering the part void, and so I was really upset. And I learned after that, don't tell anybody when you book something until it's like on air, until you sign the paper or whatever, until it actually happens. Now I'm very hush hush about it.
That must have been something.
He was, very nice guy. He was really cool. Al Pacino, very cool guy.
Do you prepare for a role the same way?
And this is some things I learned from Laurie as to how to break down a script first. So I'll try to break it down, make some choices, and try to be off book, as they say. Try to have it memorized by the time I get into it. If you could be off book or have the screen memorized, that it really gives you a leg up, confidence wise, and making choices just comes through more believable.
Very true. And how did you come up with RONKOKOMO?
RONKOKOMO, my little viral video. I was taking the Long Island Railroad home one night, and I heard when I told somebody one time I was from RONKOKOMO, they joked around and says,